Welcome to Hollywood Approved with Stacey and Yael. Each episode is an exploration of taste as we dive into the good, the bad, and the unexpected in TV and movies. Tune in for celebrity guests, stay for the surprising recommendations. This is Hollywood Approved. I'm
Yay!
enjoying that intro.
I
We're gonna
love that
snazz it
intro.
up a little bit.
Yeah, thank you to the incredible people at the HCA for making that intro for us. I'm so excited, Stacey. We have a very special guest joining
I
us. I
know.
love Tuesdays. This is the best. We have an Emmy nominated actress
An
for,
Emmy nominated actress.
yes, we do, for Intersection. Welcome, Jacinte Blankenship. Hello.
Whee!
No. Thank you so much for having me. You just made me blush. I was like, oh, I am going to be nominated, aren't
Yeah,
I?
I
you
know.
are.
We're so excited. Okay, I'm going to show a little bit of my ignorance. Have YouTube series always been able to be Emmy nominated? How did this even come about?
So I don't know how well it's been around for some years, at least a handful of
Okay.
years that I know, because Kiki Palmer won my category
Yes.
last year. But it is something that I just became aware of when we were starting to work on our show, was that
Mhm.
there was a short form category, and we just kind of put it in our minds,
Right.
like, maybe, we could make something, worthy of submitting to the Emmys. But I didn't see this coming. So, but yeah, it's been around at least for a handful of years, I know for sure.
Well, tell us
Yeah.
about the series in general.
Well, the series is it's a dark comedy slash drama about six people living in this neighborhood in Atlanta. It's a historically Black neighborhood that is undergoing gentrification, and it's about these six people and how they intersect in their daily lives in this neighborhood and how they navigate what's happening. And so, you laugh a little, you do a little of that, and hopefully your heartstrings are pulled a little bit.
This series has an all-female writers' room, and the cast and crew are over 80% female and Black and Indigenous people of color. Tell me about working on a show that is so female-heavy, so diverse, so inclusive.
It was incredible. Such a rock star cast and crew. Our writers' room was amazing. Very different perspectives, and which was challenging in some ways just so meaty and juicy, and we just got a chance to vibe off of each other. So I was truly, truly inspired by my experience, and I know that, like, going forward, there is no excuse to not have this existing, on other projects. Like, I mean, there's just so many different talented people from every different background, and it just enriches the story and enriches the experience. So I'm by all means looking for that moving forward.
Now, Jacinta, did you do both? Did you do writing as well, or were you primarily acting? What was your role within the series?
So I am a writer, I'm co-writer,
Mm.
co-producer, and an actor in the
All
project.
right.
I didn't create the project. That was created by Moretta Moss, Megan Messmer, and Jenica Hill. They are the original creators of the concept. Jenica and I were classmates in an acting class, and they had been working on the project. This was around 2019, and they wanted to put together a sizzle.
Mm.
And she asked me if I would like to act in it as one of the characters. And I was like, of course, and worked on that. And then they realized that they wanted to expand their writer's room and expand it in some diverse ways. So they brought me along, and Karen Cisse, who was also a writer and producer. And yeah, that's how the writer's room got formed. And then, we were very intent on finding, women DPs, women directors, people of color, like everyone that we could find that were, super, super talented and moving in their own right, as like worthy filmmakers, and just did this thing. It's incredible.
You have had a lot of parts on a lot of different shows that I have watched, and they're all
CP's Nate.
the Gifted. So all of these shows are very different in genre, and this being a dark comedy, what is it like working on something that is short form, that is a dark comedy, as opposed to like an NCIS or Black Widow?
Yeah, yeah. This I love that we just had some freedom to stretch and push the limits a little bit on content and what we would have to say. Definitely Marvel and CW, just, the stories are great and there's action and the budgets are big and everything. But, sometimes the content has to stay, in the middle. You can't really push too far. And I'm not a writer on any of those projects, so I can only imagine what what that's like. But for us, we had to just really kind of get to the point very quickly and have like some very strong content and, get to the message and push the boundaries as far as we could, because we only had, all of our episodes are 10 minutes or less. So,
Mm-hmm.
We really didn't want to have too much fluff and just get to the point.
Well, that's one thing that I absolutely loved about it. I've kind of been streaming my way through them, and some about 3 or 4 episodes in, and the amount of times that I got angry, that I was triggered because I know this. I know that world, the whole thing about, oh, I'm at the Black or the Berry and, I have 405,000 followers. Hope that helps. And you're just like, go away. There was something that was so real and so raw. And I loved, because it was a YouTube series, you don't have the same overhead that you do with their network. You're not necessarily beholden to sponsors when it comes to your content. And so when you guys were kind of formulating what the script was going to be, how did you go about figuring out how far to push the envelope, kind of where that line was, where I'm like, well, we can't just, throw them off a cliff, but here's what we could do instead.
That's interesting because we didn't really think about the limitations too much. A lot of these stories either come from real life experiences, or,
Too real.
yeah. I mean, real conversations. Moretta actually does real estate. And so she's, climbing through windows, like she has been in these situations. And so we really just wanted to cause conversation. So a lot of the things that, we felt like maybe would have gone too far, we decided to keep and just, try to find the funny, so it's a little bit more digestible.
Hmm.
But we really didn't think about it because I feel like this is something that's happening in so many different American cities, all over the world, actually.
Yeah.
And we figured the more that we could talk about, the more relatable it would be. And the more people would either be triggered by something or see themselves in the character or just have a new thought about, that issue, the better. So we really didn't cut too much. We had to rewrite things post-pandemic, but that was a
Mm.
completely different process. But yeah, that made us dig a little deeper, to be honest, once 2020 happened. What a
Ooh,
year. What a year.
what a time. What a an era.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been like 20 years.
Uh,
Exactly.
I want to ask, as a writer and actress, as someone in the behind the scenes and on screen, what which do you prefer, or do you prefer now that you've written stuff that you get to say to do that and have that control?
oh, that's a great question, Yael. So I'm an actor at heart. It's just it's instinct for me, like that is just where um I don't know, that's just where I feel at home. But I've had so many people, teachers and people in my life tell me to write. And I just was kind of like, oh, I think my journal is just enough, like I'm not sure if I'm ready to put, things in script form. So having this opportunity really boosted my confidence as a writer.
Mhm.
And I already have, at least a couple of concepts that I'm wanting to explore and already have kind of the bones so I consider myself a writer. I'm a novice writer.
Hey.
But I can say I've written something, and what an experience it was to find myself creatively in that way. So I definitely will be delving into it more.
Not
I
just
love
that you wrote something that was Emmy nominated. Let's not forget about the Emmy nomination.
Like, thank you.
I was gonna say it reminded me so much of there's an episode of Sex in the City after Carrie writes her book. This is so random, but this like immediately always comes to mind. But she is with the cab driver or the driver of the limo. There's some party. People don't show up. I don't remember exactly. But they go into the thing. He's like, I'm gonna buy you a hot dog. He was like, oh, you wrote a book. Congratulations. She's like, oh, thank you. It's like, yeah, you're a writer. You wrote a book.
Yes,
Here's a hot dog.
yes. Listen, Stacey, Sex in the City references will get me every time.
Mhm.
I love that show. I just watch it just sometimes to just have it on like it's music. Like I just play it in the background
Oh, I
sometimes.
had the pink velour DVD set that was like pink velour on the outside, and it had every DVD in like pastel colors.
Me too.
Oh, beautiful. Right?
I know exactly what episode you're talking about. Oh yeah.
Oh, I love it.
On that note, that is the perfect transition to what is the last thing that you watched?
Whee!
Jacinte, we'll start with you. What's the last thing you watched?
The Bear. Have y'all seen The Bear?
Okay. Okay, yes. Tell us about the bear.
Okay. So in my other life, I'm a restaurant person. I've worked in restaurants 20 plus years. And this show is so real and honest about what happens in the back of the house, what happens with the staff in a restaurant. And so the premise is a top chef, Michelin, I think he might be Michelin rated starred chef.
Live from Shameless.
Yeah, right. In the land of Shameless.
Right.
Goes home to his family restaurant in Chicago and takes over after his brother unfortunately passes away.
Mm.
And just the process he goes through in trying to bring this restaurant back on its legs after going through this and financial trouble. And it's phenomenal. This show, the writing, the acting, the pace of it, like they just get it. Whoever wrote this had to have spent time in a restaurant. It's amazing. Amazing.
Do you remember on Fox there was a show, it had Bradley Cooper as a chef. And
Mhm.
it might have just been called Chef. It might have been called, I don't know, Cooking with Brad. I don't know. But it was on those lines, but it couldn't get as heavy as it wanted to. So I think it only lasted one season. I love shows like that. I love back of the house shows. And so I've been wanting to get into The Bear. I'm gonna add it to my list. Make sure I get to it.
So,
When you go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, tell me about the bear.
Well, I'm saying I just want to know y'all's thoughts when you watch it because it's so great.
Mhm.
So
It's
here's
so
my problem.
okay. Okay.
Anyone who's ever watched the show knows that I will bring up SVU at any moment that I can. The main character from The Bear was in an episode of SVU
Lip.
where he was aroused by fire.
Yes, that's
And
right.
And he was disgusting.
Jeremy
He was
Allen.
absolutely disgusting. And so I cannot look at him.
This
So
will
I
change your
can't-
mind.
I can't watch the show, and everyone on the internet being like, he's so hot. I'm like, but you haven't seen him get
No,
aroused
I saw too much
by
of Shameless
fire.
to think that he was hot, but I do love him as an actor. He's really, really good.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know this.
It's a great episode with Sharon Stone
Mhm.
on Law and Order SVU. You're welcome.
Well, I'm glad I watched The Bear before I'm going to watch this episode.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep. Um,
Hilarious.
That's
all right,
amazing.
Stacey, what is the last thing that you watched?
I believe that I put Shining Veil, which it's funny because I should have put what you put, but we can talk about it when we get to it. But anyhow, Shining Veil, Courtney Cox, Greg Kinnear. It's so good, you guys. And Mira Sorvino.
It's so
It's
good.
so it's like, oh, it's a haunting, and this woman gets possessed by the spirit that lives in her house, but it's also extremely dark comedy. And so, the girl, she's like, have you ever, dreamed of killing your family? She's like, I'm a mother. Of course I have. What are you talking about? Like, just all this stuff. Courtney Cox is a hot mess in it and is so wonderful. Greg Kinnear is additionally a hot mess, but he's an oblivious hot mess, which makes him even messier. And it's just so good. And I think it's Renee Elise Goldsberry. Is that who the agent is? I might be getting
I
that
don't
wrong,
recall.
Watch
but
this.
she's amazing. It's so good. It's on Stars.
Okay.
I saw this show and I thought it was going to be scary. I don't like scary, so
Right.
it's very rare that. So I was like, lights on, middle of the day, ready to watch it. I was like, I'm going to sit through this scary show. I was not ready for it to be funny. So like I literally, the phrase burst out laughing, a laugh like burst through my mouth that I did not expect to come out. There's a part in the
As you're
first
watching like
episode.
this.
Yeah, in the first episode, she keeps like, things keep popping up and scaring her. And Greg Kinnear is like, maybe it was a deer. And she's like, do you not think I know what a deer looks like? And I just started laughing. And then he was like, well, maybe it is. And she's like, are you mansplaining a deer? And he goes, well, actually mansplaining is. And I just laughed so hard.
The comic timing is so spot on, and they are so good at being a terrible couple, but it's just like, but they're Phelps, and their family, and they're going to be together forever. But it's just like, if y'all don't kill each other in the process.
Yeah.
Okay, adding this to my list. I gotta watch that.
It's so good.
It's
on
so
Stars.
good.
So the last thing that I watched was Elvis. I finally saw it. I saw it literally last night in theaters.
I saw it Sunday.
It's good. I'm gonna start with it's good, and I enjoyed it. Let me start there before I start complaining. It's too long, and
yeah.
Baz Luhrmann makes beautiful cinema, right? That is what he is known for. Baz Luhrmann's stuff is gorgeous. When you think of Gatsby, when you think of Romeo and Juliet, when you think of anything he does, it's beautiful. And I feel like this was missing that.
Really?
I feel like I only saw that during transitions as opposed to in the scenes.
Ooh. Oh, well, so, okay. I will first start out by saying my bar was in the ground. I love Baz Luhrmann. I had an issue with Austin Butler just in general, but I will say he redeemed himself for me with this movie. I had a great time. We took a friend, we were cracking up, we were singing, we were dancing, it was all this stuff. But there was a lot of stuff about Elvis that I knew, and then there was a lot that I didn't know. And one thing that I do love about Baz Luhrmann, and it's really a blink and you'll miss it, he loves when it comes to music, he loves highlighting Black voices and specifically Black women. And knowing that, when you go back and you look at some of his stuff, you're like, I see you, Baz. I see what you're doing. And so I appreciated that. I think that he did take out some of his flourishes from the main scene because he didn't want it to go into like fantasy realm, maybe. Because, all his stuff kind of has like a magical realism sheen to it in general, which I love. That's my jam.
That's what I wanted.
Think and I think for this he kind of tapered back. But I will say Austin Butler was great, but he Nick Caged it up just a little bit. But then once you know that Nick Cage is kind of like an exaggerated Elvis, so you're like, okay, it's all coming together now. But I really enjoyed it. I did think it was long, but I also think that they had a lot of story to tell, and I was surprised by the stuff that they didn't include and some of the stuff that they did. So I was like, okay. But as soon as I got home, I looked up that 1968 comeback special. I was like, we're going to watch this. I was like, I am entertained.
Yeah. Jacinte, have you seen it?
I have not seen it. I've heard great things. Well, I heard it was, what's the lead actor's name?
Austin Butler.
I hear it's like a breakout role for him.
They're trying to go for the Oscar for him. But I will say Tom Hanks, amazing in it.
Oh, well, I mean,
disagree.
Really? Because I didn't even recognize that was him for like the grip. And then when you see interviews with the real dude, you're
Mm.
like, oh no, that's him.
Oh, wow.
Like he nailed it for me.
I think the Austin Butler.
Austin Butler. Yep.
I think he did great. I think he did great. I think he's I'm gonna say it. I think he's more handsome than Elvis. I think that I
How
know.
dare
I
you?
know.
Ah, I
I, s-
quit.
I stand by it. Um, I think the prosthetics were really great until the end of for Austin Butler. I was like,
I'm
did you
like, what are
guys
they gonna do?
did you not you're
Can I
telling me
tell
this
you?
man's almost 40? Like, do it. Make him almost 40. He still looks like he's 25.
I cracked up when because I said there's something about the 70s. They liked a long shot or a up close shot and there was no in between. And so when they were doing that final thing and the camera was like here on Elvis and all you saw was cheek,
Yep.
I was just like, and so that's another reason I went to the special to look at it and I was like, oh no, this was true. This was shot for shot. It was amazing. That movie was so good. I had a great time.
Yeah. I mean, the music's amazing.
When
I'd
y'all
watch it
say
again.
long, is this almost 3
Oh,
hours
it's
long?
almost 3 hours. Yeah, it's like 2 hours and 48 minutes. It's long. When we knew it was going to be long, but like it was one of those we went outside, we went inside and it was day outside. We came out and it was night. It was no dusk. It was
Wow.
night. But I think when it comes like home cinema, it's a good one to kind of maybe plan like a two-nighter and just, do the first half and that kind of thing. Because it is very interesting. I will say he did use the time well, but I don't know that we needed all of that.
Yeah. I
I,
wonder if they kept a lot or how much they cut, because that's the thing. If it's almost 3 hours, final edit, like wow, that's
Well,
insane.
are you Baz Luhrmann fan?
I've seen a handful of his movies, yes.
Hmm.
A fan,
I
I mean,
growing up,
I appreciate them so, and they're wonderful movies, but
sure.
I
right.
don't know that I can qualify as a fan, but
Romeo and Juliet came out when I was in the middle of my teenage angst era. And so it when I tell you it hit every single button, I consumed that movie over and over and over. And at that point, I used to work at a video store and I was a teenager, so I had nothing to do. And so I was like, I'm gonna watch everything he's made. I'm gonna watch everything that everybody in this movie is in, just like all this stuff. Absolutely obsessed. So I love Baz Luhrmann, and I was almost sad that I wasn't going to watch Elvis because I wasn't here for the hype, and I was just like I had issues with Austin Butler, and then I was just like fine. Oh, and then I got the ticket, and I was like fine, let me just go to this movie, and I was like I'm so glad I did this. It was great.
I'm gonna have to go on a deep dive of Baz's movies then, so I
Hmm.
can
Yeah,
say what.
Australia, Moulin Rouge, Great Gatsby. The Great Gatsby,
Okay.
by all accounts, probably a terrible film, not that great of a book. I had a great time. And in fact, I just rewatched it because I forgot what happened at the end. And so I was like, let me go rewatch this. And I was like, yes, I'm here. I get it, Baz. So, yes, I totally get what you mean, Yell, that like you wanted to see a little more Baz in it. And I
I
think it
wanted
could have
glitter. I wanted
benefit
golden
right.
glitter.
Hmm.
If you, whatever. Well, we could talk about this for hours. We got to keep going. What is a show or movie you just discovered? Jacinte, we'll start with you.
Show 5 days at Memorial.
I was just watching today.
Oof,
Woo. Yeah.
oof. It's something. That movie is something. It took me right back to that moment in time, and just to see, this insight on the events, from the hospital perspective and what was going on during
Right.
Katrina, it's just heartbreaking, but as an actor, I just appreciate them so much for putting their heart and souls into the story. And yeah, it's a heavy hitter, but I'm almost finished, but I'm so happy I started watching it. It hurts, but
Yeah. Well, there
it's
was so much that I had no idea about because at that time we were actually taking I guess refugees, evacuees, there we go, from Katrina in Omaha, and so they were getting like supplies ready. So there's a whole news cycle where I had no idea that that happened and then forgot the rest of it. So I was like, it's very good. It's very, very good. But yeah, it's very heartbreaking. It's on Apple, a series
Yes.
on Apple, I think 8 episodes. Might be more.
I know I'm about to start episode 5, so I'm
Oh,
not sure how many there are.
mhm.
But yeah, what a story! And they're like inserting, real footage from
Yeah.
the
Ooh,
that
that's the one
woman.
that gets him.
It's
Like, oh,
just, and you're like, this was real life.
yeah.
It's just insane. And Vera Farmiga, I worked with her,
Oh, I
The
adore.
Conjuring. I had a scene with her,
Yes.
and just to see her in this, she's a phenomenal actress.
J'adore. I love her and everything.
Yeah. So I'm just like, oh God. She was so kind to me on set, and
Oh,
just to continue to see her do such beautiful work. I love this show.
yay.
Nice. Stacey, what is a show or movie you just discovered?
Oh, I put She-Hulk. I just started watching it. I was a little bit late, and then so I got to watch 2 episodes in a row. I love Tatiana Maslany. I adore her. Of course, since Orphan Black, but there's a podcast, a comedy podcast I listen to called Comedy Bang Bang, and she and Christian Bruin are huge fans, so they're always on it. Like recently, and there was an episode of a side podcast where he was like, he said something to her about, oh yeah, you're going to turn into this big green giant, and she got really quiet, and everyone's like, why is she so quiet? Like what happened? And then later She-Hulk was announced. And we're like, ah! So I love seeing her like do things and be part of the Marvel circuit. Brett Goldstein's another one who's going to be the Marvel circuit soon, but he's like in this little circle. You're just like, oh my god, you're like doing it and you're getting big. So yes, I love seeing Tatiana Maslany in this. I'm having a little bit of an issue really finalizing the tone of the show. I'm not a familiar with She-Hulk, and so it kind of lines up in between like Harvey Birdman, attorney at law, and a Marvel movie. And I know those are opposites, so I know it lies somewhere on that spectrum. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where. We'll see.
That's interesting. I love this show. But I will say, you getting to watch 2 episodes back to back is how I wish they would have released it, because
Exactly.
a lot of people that didn't like the first episode, their complaint was that nothing happened.
Right.
And then the second episode, I was like, this is what would have happened. Like, this should have been one episode or back to back. The
Yeah.
first 2 would have been great. Um, I'm so excited to see where this is going because I am a big superhero fan. Jacinte, you have been in superhero things. Are you a big superhero
Yes.
fan?
I gotta say, I'm just getting my like superhero wings here. I just started. I Googled the timeline for the MCU, like how to
Ooh,
watch the movies,
Godspeed.
and so I'm like in the middle of, just binging all the movies, and I've watched WandaVision, and I'm
Oh,
getting there. I'm getting
love
there.
Okay.
WandaVision.
I love it. But yeah, I mean, Black Widow was crazy fun. Crazy
Yeah.
fun.
It sounds so fun, and I love Florence Pugh and like everything. So I cannot wait to see where this goes. Are they like I don't know if you can say anything, but do they have like more in the works?
Even if I couldn't say anything, I
She's like,
don't even know.
right,
So
there we go.
I hope so. I was so bummed. A lot of things that we shot actually got cut, but I
Hmm.
mean, the experience alone was just tremendous.
Ah,
Tremendous. I still pinch myself when I think about it. And I
yay.
had a scene with Scarlett Johansson that I don't think made the film. Well, yeah, it didn't make the film. Maybe it's in the bonus.
Deleted scenes or
Yes,
some, yeah.
deleted scenes. But I mean, I mean, the kindest. I have been so lucky to work with some really amazing,
Yay.
kind people. But yeah, truly kind. And I mean, William Hurt, may you rest in peace. Brilliant, brilliant actor. And
Oh, yeah.
uh, yeah, it was crazy, crazy fun.
Awesome. The show that I just discovered is Entourage.
I'm so mad at you about this.
Look, I'm going to tell you all a secret. I don't hate watch things. but I hate watching this. I hate it. I hate it so much.
It's so
It's so
and
bad.
it's been bad.
It doesn't hold up. It's offensive. I
Doesn't.
hate everybody.
It
I
didn't hold up
also
when it
hate
was out.
it's I'm hate watching it. Which is something I don't do. If I don't like something, I don't watch it. But I'm like, I am in season 5, I think. There's so much of this crap. Also, it's inaccurate. And that I think bothers me even more. Like, first of all,
Listen.
every time their limo pulls up to the red carpet and they just step onto the carpet, I go, no, you get dropped off and you check in and then you walk on. And then when like the way that they do the like press interviews in the carpet, I'm like, that's not how it works. Trust me, that's not how it works. As someone who does this, that's not it. Oh, it's very frustrating. Yeah. It's very
Yeah.
frustrating,
You
guys.
know, I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt because so this movie came out, or this series started, um actually, that timeline may be completely off. Anyhow, I was obsessed with Matt Dillon for a very long time, and his brother Kevin is in this show. So I'm like, I want to show the Dillon brothers some love. I'm gonna, and I love Adrian Grenier. Let's see, and this is about Hollywood, so let's see like what it is. And then I was like, oh no, 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 no. I was like, Hollywood can't be like this. No, 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 no.
Is it terrible that I enjoyed watching it when it was out?
Yes.
You know what? I think if you can watch it from like a purely pretty guys making terrible decisions, or like the bros, I think the bros of it all can be very appealing, but it wears thin for me. Like I couldn't make it past, I think, like season 3, and that was the
So
time when I was watching everything. You
Yeah.
know.
my
Yeah.
roommate called it Sex in the City for bros.
Uh,
And that is so accurate that
Kinda,
if
yeah.
I think if you can enjoy Sex in the City, not to call you both out, but if you can continue to enjoy that, even though the like homophobia is very much there, and all sorts of other issues, then you can enjoy this too in its incredible misogyny and sexism and homophobia and transphobia and racism and
I was like,
so,
Turtle is the Samantha, or is
no, Turtle is not a Samantha. Turtle's a Miranda.
well, the benefit of
that's
time is that we become evolved, right? And
Yes.
yes.
we have a
Lord
better
willing.
awareness. And so I think it's definitely a different watching it now than it was when it was out in the
Sure.
early 2000s. You know, same thing with Sex in the City, because
Oof.
I agree with everything you just said. You know, and it's just one of those things where it's just, hey, we needed some time to get to where we are today, you know?
Yes.
So yeah, I completely understand that experience watching this show because it is over the top.
I
Yeah.
Yeah.
compare it with like Cable Guy or like Ace Ventura, where I will stand those movies. I will defend them at all costs. I love them when they came out. I love them now. They do not hold up. They are
Mm.
problematic. So it's just like, well, it was the times.
It was the
What are we
time.
gonna do?
I get that.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right. What is a show or movie that you think everyone should watch at least once? Jacinte, we'll start with you.
Okay. Forrest Gump. I
Oh
just
yes. Oh,
uh I
A
mean,
classic.
it's a classic. You know, Tom Hanks he's phenomenal, and I just think this movie just it's so special. And I think, you know, it's hard to pick something that everyone should watch, you know, but I think this story can touch anyone in some way, you know, in some way, just make you feel just all warm and fuzzy inside. I hope. But yeah, I think it's just a wonderful film. I really do.
I agree. I think it's also, I kind of like, I guess, historical fiction. I think sometimes can be really fun. And I
yeah.
think that the way that they played with history is really fun.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Stacey, what about you? Something everyone should watch at least once.
I put The Color Purple.
That That was my other
That
choice.
movie, yes. When I tell you meme after meme after meme, so quotable, so beautiful. Anytime someone starts, you will never find. I'm like, oh no, I'm crying. I'm crying. It's done. I just have to have this emotionally cathartic moment. The sister song, me and my best friend like sing that to each other on our birthdays. Just like all that stuff. It's so much a part of my life and who I am as a person and the things that I like and the way that it was really formed, the way that he adapted the book, I thought was so tight and so well done. And Whoopi Goldberg, oh my God, amazing, amazing cast all around. You told Hoppo, we got Oprah, we got everybody doing their job and doing it well. And that movie, it's so epic. It's a great group watch. You get a bunch of your friends together, like people who have actually seen it before, and then you get one person that hasn't. I guarantee you'll have the best night. It'll be so fun. So yeah, that's a great, great movie.
Ugh.
I love these choices.
Robbed of the Oscar.
Are you aware of how much controversy was around that film when it came
Oh
out?
yeah.
That is insane to me because I feel the same way about that film, and it's just, I don't think I was old enough to be aware of the controversy around that
Exactly.
time. But man, it's just so special. And to see how the adaptations on stage and now this musical that's coming out, like how that is just moving
Fantasia.
everyone.
I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Like y'all are killing me. I'm
Mm.
gonna just lay down in the aisles. I'm just gonna go there and I'm take a blanket, take a pillow, and just be ready. Just be horizontal because I already know. But yeah, ah, that is one where you really do look back with rose-colored glasses because that was an effort to get that to screen, and it's really hard to forget to appreciate all the work that went into bringing what is now considered a classic on the screen. How it was such a fight. So yeah.
Yeah. And just Oprah's journey with that role. And
Hmm.
we could go down a deep old
Miss
rabbit hole
Sophia,
with
Miss
this.
Sophia. Yeah, I'm about to say that's a whole other episode, and we will invite you back.
I love
We'll do a whole special just on that film.
it.
Well, I picked The Princess Bride. I think that is a movie everyone should watch at least once. I think I originally picked it because it's I think there's just so much that's quotable and memed and part of your life that you should see it because you should know where those come from. Um, but also like it's a nice classic. I feel like it was a bad pick after both of yours now.
Oh no, it's actually very good. The problem is so Princess Bride was at a weird, it was a little before my time, but also oddly a little after. And so I knew of it. And of course I know all the pop culture things, but I don't think I've ever sat down and watched it start to finish. And so
Same.
I need to now.
Well, now you have to because I said
Yes.
everyone should watch this at least once. So this movie, when I was younger, I used to go to summer camp, and it was a sleepaway camp. And once, I would say once a session, so probably every year, they would have movie night, and movie night was The Princess Bride or Spaceballs, because those are appropriate for all ages and funny and have humor. And like The Princess Bride, the whole premise is this kid doesn't want his grandfather to read the book. And the book, he's like, but it has sword fighting and it has, action, it has this and that, and it has romance, it has all of the things that you want in a movie, in a book, and everything. And it's such a great story. And I feel like for a lot of people, it introduced them to Carrie Elwes and Robin Wright and Billy Crystal. It just was really amazing. Really an amazing.
Robin Wright in two of the things in Forrest Gump and in Princess Bride. I
Yeah.
especially love and then what Fred Savage and was that Peter Falk?
Mm-hmm.
There,
The
okay,
grandfather, yeah.
yes.
And of course, Mandy Patinkin
Wallace Shawn
as
and yep, Mandy
Sean, yeah.
Patinkin,
Andre the
Lou.
Giant.
Yeah, there we
What
go.
a cast. Wow.
Yeah. It's a
Wild.
classic.
So I just need to sit down and watch it. So my first exposure to Carrie Elwes was Robin Hood Men in Tights,
Of
and
course.
I was just over the moon. So I actually went back and like watched a bunch of his stuff. I still haven't done Princess
Princess Bride.
Bride. So I'm going to. It's on the list now.
Well, I mean, at the beginning of the pandemic, they got celebrities all over to literally reenact the Princess Bride. Like that's
Yeah.
how,
Oh, people love it.
yeah,
When it's at Hollywood Forever, it's full. They
yeah.
go crazy.
And our last question for the day, because I thought let's make things awkward. Who is your first, or one of your firsts? I'll say one of your first TV or movie crushes. Just did you want to start, or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I'm excited.
No, you start, Yael. This time you.
All right. Listen, if you've ever watched any show that I've been on or have seen me talk during December, you know that I hate Christmas. Hate it. Hate Christmas. Hate. It needs to be said before I say these words. One of my first crushes was Bernard from the Santa Claus.
Oh, homie, yes,
Yes, I did like the nice Jewish boy in the Christmas movie.
of course.
Yeah, I did. Listen, not only
David
was that,
Krumholtz.
yes, not only was
Very
that one of my first TV or movie crushes, but I was anti the series that they're bringing to Disney Plus until it was announced that he's returning.
You know what? I love that. She's like, I will stand by my conviction. Oh, David, hey, what's up?
Look,
Subscribe.
I'll tell you what's even weirder is it's just him with these dreads. It's no any other time I've seen him, I've been like, no, I'm okay. It's just the beret and the
So
dreads.
numbers wasn't for you.
It's not. He was also in an episode of SVU and didn't do it for me.
She likes the dread. She likes that Rufio, that eccentric hair. I
I
love
just
that.
noticed that when you flash the picture, that's something.
Yeah,
That
Something.
was a choice. That was a choice.
it was.
They had someone on their payroll that was like, look, we got these extra wigs. Let me hook y'all up.
I think they were like, look, he looks too Jewish. What can we do about that? All right, Stacey, tell us one of your first TV or movie crushes.
So this is something that I didn't realize was the impetus for this weird string of Hollywood crushes I have. But I put Timmy from Lassie. We're talking Nick at
Is
Night.
this-
Yes, that was my
this-
baby. Oh my God. I thought he was so, mind you, I was like 4. I was so young, but it used to come on Nick at Night. And I know. Just it was like, look. I was like, no, I'm gonna explain it. No, my dad was an old dad. And so, other kids were watching, I don't know, whatever was new at the time. And I was watching like Murder, She Wrote and Matlock at like 5 years old, like say less. And so, and then of course the whole Nick at Night lineup. So it was like My Three Sons, Patty Duke, Donna Reed's show, and then of course Lassie. And so I thought this little boy, I thought he was so cute. I thought it was so adorable. He kept getting stuck in wells. I was like, I can help you at that well, little boy. But I found out that from then on, it was like Zach from Saved by the Bell. It was Carrie Elwes. It was the guy from Suit, Harvey, the guy from Suits. I was like, do I like blondes? Do I have a thing for blondes? It was just like, it was a thing, but I said, you know what? I'm not going to fight it. We're just going to keep going. And then when I started seeing some brunettes, I was like, all right, like you're a nice little outlier. Okay. But yeah, there's always something about them blonde, a little preppy blonde. I'm like, yes.
He
I will
feels
just
like a precursor to JTT.
a little bit, but see, and that's the thing. You would have think that I would have been for Zach for the older brother, but I'm like, no. I like JTT.
You like that
right there.
It's the hair, not just the color, but the cut. You had what I also had this problem.
That peppy, yeah.
It was the what was his name from Backstreet Boys? Nick Carter.
Yes, but then Nick started doing the spiky thing.
Yeah, before the spikes.
But yes, before the spikes. Yes, I like that.
I understand where your trajectory
It's
went.
like a 90s-ish bowl cut-ish
Yes.
kind of thing. You're just like, this looks crazy, but I like it. You look like you would like, I don't know, fill me with micro antagonisms. And so therefore I guess
I
that's a magnet for me.
we have thoroughly made fools of ourselves. Jacinte, your turn.
It's okay because
Welcome to the show, just
thank you. I feel right at home actually.
Emmy Award nominated. Just talking crushes.
When you said the backstory, I was like, okay, I'm with you because I was a Andy Griffin, Matlock girl. I
Right.
watched a lot of
Yes.
women after school, just too much older
Mm.
TV. But so my TV crush, it Danny from Grease, John Travolta.
Oh, that is. But so of course mine was Grease too. Max Sheffield, the blonde. But yeah, Zuko, that little chin, that little dimple chin, and that little when he got excited and that curl would fall down. I'm like, I see
Yes,
you.
yeah, he do look.
Yes. And then Miss Wendy be like, I'm like, ooh.
I stand Grease. I would watch Grease day in and day out, and so it was only natural that I was just gonna just start looking at Danny with the hard eyes. I just, wanted so badly for him and Sandy to end up together. So yeah, John Travolta, and there was a lot of music people too.
Oh
I had
yeah.
a lot of music crushes. Do y'all remember Criss Cross?
Oh
Of
yes.
course.
Criss Cross,
So
New
I'm
Edition, all those guys.
yes. Oh my God, Boys to Men. I was Boys to Men all day, every day. They could sing whatever they wanted to me. I
Anything.
loved. But crisscross, I was we had a totally crossed out day at my school. And so everybody's like, put their jeans on backwards. But then we're like, this is why people don't wear their clothes backwards because it makes no sense and it's not comfortable. But we were crossed out. That Sprite commercial, legendary.
They
Every
did a signing at what was the name of the store? Sound Waves. What was the name of that CD place? But my mom let me take off from school so I could go and get my
yes,
CD
mama.
signed. And I waited like over an hour to like take a picture with them. It made my whole year.
Oh,
Whole year.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
What a
I
cool
miss the
mom.
bus. Yeah. I miss the bus.
All
I
right.
love
Well, on that amazing note, Vicente, thank you so much for joining us. Let everyone know where they can watch your show and find you on social media.
Oh, so yeah, so Intersection the series is on YouTube. If you put in Intersection the series, it will pop right up. And all my social media is at Jacinte B. So JACINTE B. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Before we go, we want to remind you that the Hollywood Critics Association has a lot of amazing content coming out every week, including many after shows, Pop Council on Mondays, this show on Tuesdays, and so much more. Until next time, Stacey, where are you on the internet and what are you up to these days?
at Sticky Keys on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to add me. And yeah, getting ready for TIFF, getting it done. Gonna
Yep.
clean my house, hopefully.
I am Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That is YAELTYGIEL. And you can find me here on Tuesdays. You can find me when SVU comes back talking about SVU over on Law & Order S Review. And if you watch the Leverage Redemption series, you can check out the official after show on Electric Now. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.